Tom was tired. His shift on the Horizon station had been long. He walked slowly through the quiet hallway, holding a metal food tray. He had seen nothing special during his patrol. Just normal movement, engineers working, pilots laughing, and guards watching every corner. It was the usual. He entered his small room, the door sliding open with a soft sound. Inside, the lights were dim. His bed was neat. The air smelled like metal and cleaning spray. Tom placed the tray on his table and sat down. He had just started to eat when the door slid open again. A figure stepped in, tall and graceful, wearing dark red robes with silver marks. Her skin had a soft glow, like moonlight on water. Her eyes were calm, her face gentle. She didn't look scared or confused. She walked like she belonged there. Tom stood up fast. "You're in the wrong room," he said, blinking. The girl smiled slowly. "No," she said. "I'm exactly where I want to be." Tom looked at her. Confused, he knew the robes. He had seen them before during the alliance ceremony. She was Scifi, royal, a princess. But why would a princess enter a human soldier's quarters? "Sorry, you can't be here," Tom said. "This area is restricted to Earth crew only." The girl tilted her head slightly. "I know. That's why I came." She stepped closer, and Tom took a step back. Not out of fear, just surprise. "What do you mean?" he asked. "There's something I need to tell you," she said. Her voice was soft, but serious. Tom stared at her. "Look, Princess, I'm no ambassador. I'm not important. You should talk to command." "No," she said. "I chose you." Before he could speak again, she pulled a small metal piece from her sleeve and placed it in his hand. It was a data crystal, marked with alien symbols. Tom had no idea what it was. He looked at it. "What's this?" "Proof," she whispered. "But you must not let them find it. Not yet." Just then, a beep sounded on the wall panel. A message lit up. "Security patrol nearby. Stand by." The girl's calm expression faded slightly. "They're close," she said. "Please don't tell them I'm here." Tom frowned. "Princess, I don't even know you. Why should I protect you?" "Because your people will be blamed. If I'm caught, and the ones chasing me don't want peace, they want war." The door beeped again. Someone was outside. Tom hesitated. Then he turned and opened a narrow supply closet beside his bed. "In here," he said. The princess nodded and stepped inside. He closed the door just as the main door slid open again. Two Scifi guards stood there, tall, armored, and alert. "Have you seen a Scifi female pass through here?" one asked. His voice was sharp. Tom kept his face blank. "No, just eating." "Dinner?" The guards looked around, then scanned the room with small hand devices. One of them stepped closer to the closet. Tom's heart beat faster. But after a moment, the guard turned away. "If you see anything, report it at once," the second one said. "Of course." Tom replied. The door closed, and silence returned. Tom waited a moment, then opened the closet. The princess stepped out. Her face was calm again, but her hands were shaking a little. "Thanks," she said. "What is going on?" Tom asked. "Why are your own people chasing you?" She looked into his eyes. "Because I know something they don't want anyone to hear. If I tell the truth, they'll lose their power." Tom held up the crystal. "Is the truth in this?" She nodded. He sat down slowly, still staring at her. "This isn't a normal day," he muttered. Double quotes, "No." She agreed. "But this is just the beginning." Tom didn't know what he had just stepped into, but something inside told him this girl wasn't lying, and the quiet war she spoke of had already begun. The room felt colder now. The metal walls no longer felt safe. The Horizon Station had always been a place of peace, a symbol of unity between Earth and the stars. But now, it felt like something else, a place where danger could wear a friendly face. Tom looked at the princess again. She was young, but her eyes looked older than her face, like someone who had seen too much too soon. "My name is Alira," she said softly. "Tom," he replied. She gave a small nod. He stared at the crystal again. "I'm not a hero," he said. "I'm just a guard." Alira smiled. Sometimes, that's the best person to trust. Tom sighed. All right, but we'll need help. And I'll need answers. You'll have them, she said. But not here. Tom stood and grabbed his small pack. He opened the wall panel and placed the crystal behind it in a hidden space. Used for tools. Let's go, he said. Where? She asked. Somewhere with less cameras. The two of them slipped out quietly, walking side by side through the cold hallway behind them. The room door closed again, and the war, still hidden, took one more silent step forward. Tom moved quickly through the side corridors of Horizon Station. Princess Alira walked silently beside him. She moved with grace, but her eyes were always watching. Every camera, every sound, every turn she saw, everything. Tom led her to an old storage area near the lower power deck. Few people came there. The lights flickered sometimes, and the air smelled of oil and dust. That made it perfect for hiding. Once inside, Tom closed the heavy door and locked it from the inside. He checked the small window. No one had followed them. This place is safe, he said. Alira looked around. It will do. Tom sat on an old metal crate. Now tell me, why did you come to me? Why not go to someone higher, someone important? She sat too, her hands resting in her lap. Because someone higher may already be part of the plan. Tom frowned. Plan? She nodded. There is a secret agreement. Some leaders from my people and some from yours are planning a false attack. They want to make it look like your side started a war. Tom couldn't believe it. That doesn't make sense. Why would they do that? For control, she said, for power. If war starts, people will follow them without question. They will build weapons, take more land, and silence anyone who asks why. Tom shook his head. But peace is held for 7 years. That's what they want to break. She reached into her robe and pulled out another small device. It looked like a square chip with blue edges. This is the second part of the proof. The first was the crystal I gave you. What's on this one? A voice recording, a secret meeting. Held last month. You will hear names, dates, plans. Tom stared at the device. You're risking your life. Yes, Alira said, because I want peace. And because if they find me, they will erase the truth. Tom took the chip and placed it in his pocket. All right, we need help. Someone I can trust. Who? She asked. My friend Lena. She's an engineer. She works on the data systems. She can break into this chip without setting off alarms. Can she be trusted? Tom nodded. If she sees the truth, she won't stay silent. Alira gave a slow nod. Then we must go to her. Tom unlocked the door. She's on deck 6. They moved again, taking a slower route this time. Alira wore a large maintenance jacket over her robes to hide her royal outfit. Her hood was up. Most people didn't even notice her when they reached deck 6. Tom led her into a repair room filled with wires, blinking lights, and half-open panels. Lena sat at her desk, drinking from a mug and staring at a monitor. She turned when she saw Tom. You're off duty, she said. Did you come to fix something or break something? Tom smiled a little. Both. She looked past him and saw Alira. Her eyes narrowed. Who's this? Tom closed the door behind them. Lena, this is someone very important, and we need your help. Lena stood slowly. Tom, is this a joke? No. He said, this is serious. He showed her the chip. Can you read this without it getting traced? She took it carefully. Depends. If it's military encrypted, maybe. If it's Scifi encrypted, then it might take longer. It's both, Alira said softly. Lena looked at her again. Wait, you're Scifi, and I've seen your face before. At the Unity ceremony, Tom spoke quickly. Yes, she's the princess, and she's telling the truth. Please, Lena, just look. Lena turned toward her machine and inserted the chip into a hidden port behind the main panel. A soft beat followed. She started typing fast. Green lines flashed across the screen. Tom waited, his heart beating fast. Then sound began to play. It was a recording. A human voice said, the attack will happen near the mining belt. We'll blame the Earth freighters. The Scifi will respond. Another voice answered. This one Sarati, yes, and the human leaders will ask for revenge. We will offer help. Together, we will crush both rebellions. Tom stared at the screen. Lena's hands froze on the keyboard. Alira closed her eyes. The recording continued with names, real names. A general from Earth. A Sarati noble. Several council members. It was real. Lena stopped the playback. This is huge. Tom nodded. They want a war. And they're trying to blame us first, Lena said. This could get millions killed. Alira stood. That's why I came. Lena looked at her. You're risking everything. Alira met her gaze. So are you? Now that you've heard it, Lena nodded slowly. All right, what do we do next? Tom thought for a moment. We can't go to command. We need to send this to someone outside. A neutral group. I know a way. Lena said, there's a comms unit deep in the old comms ring. It hasn't been used in years. But I can make it work. Then we go tonight, Tom said, quietly. Alira looked at both of them. They will try to stop us. If we are caught, they may not even let us speak. Tom's voice was steady. Then we don't get caught. He walked to the door. We meet again in 0 hours. Bring only what you need. Lena handed the chip back to him. Hide this. Don't let it out of your hand. Tom nodded. Alira pulled the hood tight around her face. Together, they slipped out into the hallway again. Behind them, Lena started preparing her tools. The station was quiet, but now it felt different. Every sound was sharper. Every shadow seemed deeper. Tom didn't know how far this would go, but he had made his choice. He looked at Alira. Are you afraid? He asked. A little, she said. Good. He replied. That means you're still thinking. She smiled. They walked away. Two quiet figures in the middle of a silent storm. That was just beginning to rise. At exactly 0 hours, the station lights were dim. Horizon was quieter than usual. Most crew members were asleep. Only patrol guards moved through the main paths. Tom stepped out of his quarters, wearing a dark jacket and carrying a tool bag, to look like an off-duty worker. Alira met him near the lower lift. She wore a plain jumpsuit now. Just like the engineers, her long hair was tied back under a cap. She looked less like a princess and more like any crew member, quiet, focused, and careful. You're on time, Tom said. I have to be, she replied. We don't get a second chance. They moved quickly through the narrow hallways, sticking to the service paths. The lights buzzed slightly above them. Alira kept looking behind, making sure no one was following. Her fingers gripped the edge of her sleeves tightly. After 10 minutes, they reached a sealed door. Lena was already waiting there, crouched beside an open panel. I disabled the scanner for 10 minutes, she whispered. We have to move fast. Tom nodded. Lead the way. Lena opened the door, and the three of them entered the old communications ring. The room was dark and filled with dust. Machines lined the walls, many covered in cloth or plastic sheets. Some blinked softly, still alive even after years without use. This place gives me chills. Tom muttered. It was closed after the new systems were built, Lena said. But it still has an old direct relay to the neutral broadcast zone. We can send a message that the council can't block. Can they trace it? Alira asked. Only if we're too slow. They moved toward the main console. Lena pulled off the plastic cover and started her work. Her fingers moved fast over the buttons and wires. Tom watched the door while Alira stood beside Lena, helping where she could. Time passed slowly. Every second felt heavier. The air felt colder to . Suddenly, a red light flashed. Lena cursed under her breath. Someone just activated a scan in this zone. It's weak, but we've been noticed. Tom stepped closer. Can you finish the upload? Almost. He handed her the chip. Lena plugged it into a side slot. The screen came alive. A loading bar began to move slowly across the display. Faster, Alira whispered. I'm trying. Lena replied. The system is old. Tom checked his wrist scanner. A patrol is headed this way. How long? Lena asked. 5 minutes. Lena stared at the screen. I need 6. Tom stepped to the door and pulled out a small tool from his bag. He began working on the door panel from the inside. What are you doing? Alira asked. Buying you a minute outside. The hallway lights turned yellow. That meant inspection mode. The guards were close now. Tom's hands moved quickly as he adjusted the wires. He was never trained for hacking, but soldiers learn tricks in the field. The panel sparked. Tom smiled. Done. Door will stay locked for 7 minutes. After that, it opens no matter what. Alira looked at him with surprise. You're full of secrets. I have to be. Behind them, Lena gasped. It's done. Uploaded. I sent it to 4 open channels and 1 closed backup. They'll receive it in less than an hour. Tom turned to her. Good work. But then the station lights turned red. A loud warning echoed through the walls. Unauthorized data transfer detected. Lockdown protocol starting. Lena grabbed her tools. We need to move. Now. They ran from the console room back into the hallway. Tom guided them through an old waste tunnel that hadn't been used in years. It was narrow, dark, and smelled terrible. But no patrol would check it. After 15 minutes of crawling and walking, they reached an old exit behind the engineering bay. Tom checked the hallway before waving the others forward. But as soon as they stepped out, a voice shouted, Stop right there. 2 guards blocked the path. They were not Scifi, they were human. Tom stepped in front of Alira. We're authorized personnel. The guards didn't lower their weapons. Alira of Scifi. You are under protective hold, one guard said. Come with us peacefully. Alira stayed still. Under whose order? Joint Command. Your presence is a threat to station security. Tom raised his voice. She's trying to stop a war. She's part of an investigation now. The guard said, You too. More guards appeared behind them. They were surrounded. Alira placed her hand on Tom's arm. We can't fight here, Lena sighed. So now what? Tom lowered his hands. We go with them, for now. The guards escorted them toward the upper holding zone. The walk was silent, but tension filled the air. Tom kept thinking about the message. Would anyone believe it? Would it be blocked? In the holding room, they were separated. Tom sat alone in a gray-walled space with no windows. A camera blinked above the door. He waited for what felt like an hour. Finally, the door opened. A man in a dark suit entered. His badge showed he was part of Earth's intelligence unit. Thomas. Hail, the man said. I'm Director Voss. Do you know why you're here? Tom nodded. Because I helped a princess tell the truth. Voss sat down across from him. What if I told you we already knew the truth? Tom blinked. What? Voss leaned forward. The message you sent, we had it weeks ago, but we couldn't act on it. Not without risking full war. Your move gave us a reason to expose it publicly. Tom stared at him. So we're not in trouble. Voss smiled. No, you're now part of something bigger. Tom leaned back, surprised. You'll speak to no one about this, Voss added. But you've done something important. You gave the truth a voice. The door opened again. Alira entered. Her hands were free now. She looked at Tom and smiled. They told me what happened. She said. He stood. Then we're safe, for now, she said. But not for long. Voss walked out, leaving them alone for a moment. Tom looked at her. So what happens next? Alira's voice was quiet. The ones who planned this won't stop. They'll try again, somewhere else. Then we stay ready, Tom said. She nodded, and we stay together. Their quiet mission was no longer hidden, but their part in the shadows was just beginning. 3 days passed since the truth was released. Horizon Station was no longer quiet. Security checks increased. Patrols doubled. Some crew were sent back to Earth or reassigned without notice. Everything felt tense. It was clear someone powerful was still trying to hide something. Tom walked through the central quarter of the lower deck, wearing a repair suit and carrying a heavy bag of tools. To everyone else, he looked like a maintenance worker. But inside that bag was something more important: encrypted data from Director Voss, meant for someone who still believed in peace. Beside him walked Alira, also in disguise. She wore a dark, gray suit, her hair covered under a work cap. Her royal grace was hidden now. She looked just like any other worker, but her eyes stayed alert. She was watching everything, every corner, every movement. Lena followed behind them. checking a small screen attached to her wrist. She was tracking the guards' movements through the station systems. They changed the schedule again, she whispered. Patrols are tighter near the shuttle bay. Tom nodded. We'll go through the old cargo path. Alira spoke quietly. Are we sure the shuttle is ready? Yes, Lena answered. It's small and slow, but clean. No tags. It will get you to the border zone. Tom looked at Alira. Once you reach your people, will they listen? They will if I show them the right evidence, she said. My father trusts me, but his council does not. I must reach him directly. Tom stopped beside a sealed hatch. This way, we'll need to pass through the celebration deck. There's a diplomatic party happening today. If we blend in, no one will notice. Lena raised an eyebrow. You want to walk the princess through the middle of the station's biggest hall? Tom smiled. Exactly. It's the last place they'll expect to see her. The celebration deck was wide and bright. Flags from different worlds hung above. Tables were full of strange foods. Music from 5 cultures played together, creating a soft background hum. Officers, diplomats, and guests walked slowly, talking and smiling. Most wore formal clothes or ceremonial robes. Tom and Alira moved among the crowd. Lena stayed behind. Watching from a distance, Alira held Tom's arm gently. They looked like a couple, 2 workers invited to serve or observe. Alira leaned closer and whispered, I feel like I'm back at one of my own palace gatherings. You hate those too? Tom asked. She smiled. They are pretty, but they are just a mask, like this one. They passed by a group of sorority officers. One of them stared a little too long. Alira turned her face slightly. Tom whispered, keep walking. They reached the far end of the hall, where a staff door led to a quiet corridor. Tom checked the code Lena had given them. The door clicked open. They stepped through and left the noise behind. They were now deep inside the old storage area. Empty boxes were stacked along the walls. It was dark, silent, and cold. The shuttle bay was only 5 minutes away. Tom checked his scanner. No patrols here. We're clear. But just then, the lights above them flickered. A soft humming sound echoed through the floor. Lena's voice came through the wrist comm. They found the signal. They're tracking the stolen shuttle ID. You have maybe 10 minutes before the bay is locked. Tom looked at Alira. We run. They started moving. Faster, feet hitting the metal floor with quick, careful steps. Alira kept close behind him, her breathing fast but steady. Suddenly, a voice came from behind. Halt! Tom turned to see 2 guards in dark armor. Not human, sorority. Their uniforms didn't match the ones from the peacekeeping forces. They're not official, Alira said. Private guards, loyal to the council. One of the guards stepped forward. Princess Alira, you must return with us. No, she said firmly, you serve only yourselves, not the Empire. They raised their weapons. Tom grabbed Alira's hand and ran. A blast hit the wall beside them. Sparks flew. They turned sharply into a narrow path filled with crates. The sounds of boots followed them. Tom opened a floor hatch and pulled Alira down. They landed in a dark tunnel. Pipes ran along the walls. It was tight but clear. This leads to the back of the shuttle dock, Tom said. Come on. They moved quickly through the tunnel. The station shook slightly from some system rebalancing. Somewhere above them, voices shouted. The guards. We're close. After 5 more turns, they reached a ladder. Tom climbed first, then helped Alira up. The hatch above led straight into a service room beside the shuttle hangar. He peeked through a small window. 2 workers. No guards. Alira nodded. We have a chance. They stepped out, walking calmly past the workers, who barely looked up. The shuttle was small and old but powered on. Its back door was open. Tom helped Alira climb in. She turned to the door. You're not coming. No, he said. If I leave now, they'll think I took you. If I stay, maybe I can slow them down. She looked into his eyes. I don't want to leave you behind. You're not, he said. You're going forward. That's where you belong. She paused, then stepped closer and touched his hand. Her voice was soft. I won't forget this. I know. Then she entered the shuttle. The door closed. The engine buzzed. Tom stepped back as it lifted slowly, turned, and slipped through the force field into space. The moment it disappeared, the alarm sounded. Tom turned slowly. A group of station guards was rushing toward him. At the front was Director Voss. Voss stopped and stared at the shuttle trail fading in space. "She made it," he said. Tom nodded. Voss looked at him. "We'll need a story. You're good." At that, Tom replied. Voss gave a small smile. "You bought her time. That may change everything." As guards moved around them, scanning the area, Tom stood quietly. He didn't feel like a hero. He felt tired and maybe even scared. But when he looked at the stars outside the hangar, he smiled a little, because somewhere out there, Alira was flying home. And maybe, just maybe, peace had a chance. Tom sat in the briefing room with his hands resting on the cold metal table. His jacket was damp from sweat for the past hour. He had answered question after question from Earth's security team. Now the room was quiet. The door opened again. Director Voss entered, holding a slim tablet. "She's safe," Voss said. Tom looked up. "Alira reached Sarati space. Yes, her shuttle crossed the border an hour ago. She sent a message to her father directly. It wasn't blocked." Tom let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. "She did it," he said. Voss nodded. "Yes, but it's not over. Her message will bring attention. The Sarati Council won't stay quiet. And here, there are still people working in the shadows." Tom leaned forward. "So what do we do?" Voss placed the tablet on the table and turned it toward him. "We found something." Another message hidden in the station's old systems. The screen showed a list of names, dates, and meeting logs, all coded. But one thing stood out. A location marked over in Sector Room 1 to G, located deep in the station's lower levels. An area marked for storage but never used, we think. "It's a command post for someone inside Horizon," Voss said. "They've been listening, planning, maybe even sending orders off station." Tom narrowed his eyes. "Let me go down there." Voss paused, then nodded. "Take Lena. No guards. If someone sees troops moving, the traitors may vanish." Tom stood. "We'll move fast." The lower levels of Horizon were cold and silent. Tom and Lena walked side by side, both dressed as repair techs. Pipes hissed softly above their heads. Lights flickered. Few people came down this far. Lena checked her scanner. "Room 12G is past this next hallway. It's locked from the inside." Tom looked around. "Any cameras?" "No. This part of the station is old." Cameras were removed after the system upgrade. They reached a thick gray door. It looked untouched. No markings. No sign of use. Tom pulled a small signal tool from his belt and placed it on the door. It buzzed for a few seconds, then clicked. "It's open," Lena whispered. Tom pulled the door slowly. Inside was darkness. He stepped in carefully, holding a small light. Lena followed, her hand near her tool pouch. The room was larger than expected. Rows of screens covered one wall. Communication equipment filled the other. There were maps, data links, and transmission logs. It was a hidden command center. Lena moved to the desk and powered up the screens. These logs were active yesterday. She said, "Someone used this place during the same time Alira escaped." Tom walked along the wall, checking everything. Then he saw a file folder, paper, not digital. He opened it slowly. Inside were photos. One showed Alira. Another showed Tom. The third showed Lena. "They've been watching us," he said. Lena stared at the photos. "They marked our names. Look, there's a list." Tom read the top of the page. "Potential disruptors. Remove quietly." He clenched his fist. Lena found another file. "This one is worse. It shows Peace Council members. Some have checks, others have crosses. They were planning who to remove." Suddenly, the room lights flickered. A low beep echoed through the walls. Tom turned fast. Someone triggered an alert. Lena checked the system. "We've been noticed." A silent alarm just went to another floor. Tom stepped to the main console. "We copy what we can and get out." Lena inserted a data chip. The system beeped. Files began copying. But before they could finish, the hallway outside lit up red. movement sensors had activated. A mechanical voice came through the walls. Security protocol triggered. Please remain in place. Lena's eyes widened. They're locking us in. Tom pulled out his comm. Director Voss. We found their base. We're in room 1-G. We triggered their trap. Static. Voss. Do you read? More static. They cut the signal. Lena said, we're blocked. Tom grabbed a small explosive charge from his belt. You keep copying. I'll make us a door. He moved to the back wall and placed the charge near a vent. I hope this works, he muttered. Lena's device beeped. Copy complete. Let's go. Tom pressed the switch. The charge exploded, sending dust and smoke through the room. The back vent broke open, showing a narrow tunnel. In there, he said. They crawled fast through the tight tunnel, choking on dust. Behind them, they heard footsteps. Someone had entered the control room. Tom and Lena kept moving. After 5 minutes, they reached a maintenance ladder. Tom climbed first, then helped her up. They emerged near the old air processing system. Lena sat down, catching her breath. That was close. Tom held the data chip tightly. We have what we need, he said. They returned to the upper level quietly. Voss was waiting in a secured briefing room. You were right, Tom said, handing him the chip. Voss plugged it in. As he read the files, his eyes narrowed. This goes deep, he said. These names, some of them sit on Earth's trade council. Tom looked at him. What do we do now? We go public. We send this through the Alliance channels. Let the people see. Let their leaders answer. Lena nodded. Truth is stronger when everyone sees it. Voss stood. You've done more than expected. Both of you. Tom looked out the window. The stars blinked quietly in the black space beyond. Somewhere, Alira was preparing to speak before her father's court. Here, Tom and Lena had uncovered the heart of the station's darkness. We're not done, Tom said. Not until the ones behind this are stopped, Voss nodded. And they will be, because now, they're exposed outside the room. The Horizon station moved slowly through space, but inside, truth was moving faster than anyone had expected. And peace had a real chance because of 3 people who refused to stay silent. The space outside Horizon Station was calm. Stars shone quietly. But tension filled the air inside the station. The secret was out, but peace was still fragile. Alira stood in the grand hall of her home world, the Sarati Empire. The palace was large and filled with light. Her father, the emperor, sat on a high throne. Round him, advisors whispered, some smiling, others frowning. Alira took a deep breath. Today she would speak to all Sarati leaders. She held the data she had carried, the proof of the secret plan to start war. The proof was from the humans and from her own people. Her voice was calm but strong. We do not need war. We need peace. Our future is with Earth, not against it. Some leaders nodded. Others looked angry. Suddenly, a message arrived, a warship from a rogue Sarati faction was entering the system. Its weapons were active. The war had begun. Alira's heart raced. She turned to her father. We must stop this. The emperor looked tired but nodded. Try to reach the captain. Tell him to stand down. Alira left quickly, moving to the communications room. Back at Horizon Station, Tom waited nervously. The news about the rogue warship had reached them hours ago. The warship was moving fast toward the station. Its crew followed orders from a group that did not want peace. Tom sat in a small drone control room. In front of him, screens showed the warship's position and speed. He had an idea. The old maintenance drones were small, fast, and could be controlled remotely. They were not weapons, but they could be used to block or distract. Tom connected to one drone. It hummed softly. He thought about the risk. If the warship saw the drone, it might attack. But if the drone got close enough to the engines, maybe it could cause a delay. He pushed the controls forward. The drone flew out into space, moving toward the warship. On the warship bridge, the captain watched the approaching drone. The ship's weapons charged. The captain spoke. Shoot it down. But the drone moved fast, weaving through beams and shields. It reached the engine vent and sent out a signal warning message. At the same time, Alira's voice came through the emergency channel. This warship is acting without the Council's order, she said. Stand down. Return to base. The warship hesitated. Tom watched, holding his breath. The captain looked around the bridge. Crew members whispered, some fearful, others angry. Then the ship's weapons powered down. Alira's message was spreading through the fleet. More ships were listening. Her words were like fire, strong, clear, and impossible to ignore. Tom smiled quietly. He thought about Alira's courage. She had risked everything to speak for peace. Hours later, the warship returned to the Scifi homeworld. The threat of war had been stopped for now. In the quiet after the battle, Alira visited Tom's quarters on Horizon Station. She opened the door and smiled. You're braver than most generals, she said softly. Tom laughed. I was just a guard. Not anymore, Alira replied. You helped save millions of lives. She stepped closer and took his hand. You should stay by my side. There is much to do. Tom looked into her eyes. He saw hope, strength, and a new beginning. He nodded. Together, they stood looking out at the stars. The future was still uncertain, but for the first time, peace felt real. The space station horizon was quieter now. The storm of secrets and danger had passed, but its marks remained. Tom walked through the corridors with steady steps. His role had changed. No longer just a guard, he was part of something bigger. Bridge between worlds, Alira stood beside him, her royal robes replaced by simple clothes, fitting her new role as a messenger of peace. The Scifi Empire had begun to listen, and Earth was ready to work with them. But trust would take time. Their first task was to rebuild faith between the two peoples. They traveled to meetings, spoke before councils, and met with soldiers who once saw each other as enemies. Tom watched Alira speak with confidence. She was no longer just a princess, she was a leader. One day, as they prepared for a gathering of both Earth and Scifi diplomats, Tom felt the weight of their journey. We have come far, he said quietly, but there are still many who do not want peace. Alira nodded. True, but the choice is now in our hands. We can build a future where our children live without fear. Tom smiled. I never thought I would leave my guard post and become part of history. She touched his arm gently. You have always been part of it. You just didn't know. Suddenly, the communication panel beeped. A message from the Emperor arrived. He invited Tom and Alira to a special ceremony. A new alliance would be formed. On the day of the ceremony, the hall was filled with light and music from many worlds. Leaders wore their best robes and uniforms. The mood was hopeful. Alira stepped forward and spoke clearly. Today, we choose unity over division. We promise to work together to protect our worlds and share our knowledge. Tom stood beside her, proud. When the ceremony ended, leaders shook hands and signed documents. Cameras recorded the moment for all to see. Later, Tom and Alira walked. Outside, the stars glittered above them like jewels. Do you think this peace will last? Tom asked. Alira looked up. It must, because we fought too hard to lose it. Tom smiled. Then I will stand with you, always. She returned his smile. And I with you. The universe was vast and full of challenges, but for the first time, hope burned bright. Together, they faced the new dawn.